Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. I can tell you right now, I not only attack all of the problems going around the country, I always offer solutions. Always offering solutions. That's me. This is funny. I got to try to find out. Sometimes something's not going in right.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing in here. Everything is a little, wires are going different ways. I'm not sure what's going on.
Sometimes the wires just don't work. I got to ask a question, and I want to apologize to everybody because I love originality, and I don't want to bore you with repetitive comments. But I want to know if there's ever been a scientific study about a 10-minute snooze button. In other words, has a scientist, a sleep aptitude type person, studied and said, there's a reason why, why isn't it 9 minutes? Or why isn't it 15 minutes? Why is the snooze button, TC, 10 minutes?
Now, see,
I want to know.
On my clock at home, it's 7 minutes. On my cell phone, it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, but is this just random, or is there science behind
the number?
The number snooze.
That's a good question. I don't know because it's so with 7 minutes. I have to stop and think. Okay, well, if I set it for this time, then if I snooze for 7 minutes, then add another 7 minutes because I'm lazy. That's 14 minutes. I have no idea what time I'm really supposed to be getting up.
And I just want everybody to know that the history segment of our show is going to rock probably for the next 100 days because I bought a new little book about strange but true history stories, and we will begin today to set the pace. You will marvel at the history story. Also, and I got to do this in code, coming up after 8 o'clock, there are some female attorneys that work in a Cincinnati office who are fans who told my partner yesterday, Charlie Lester, they were a little offended at some of my comments, something about barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen. I don't remember ever saying that about the women. So I've got a special song for them after 8 o'clock that we're going to play for those ladies to redeem myself. But let's start out with a joke.
All right.
A married couple goes to the hospital to have their baby delivered. Upon their arrival, the doctor said that he invented a new machine that would transfer a portion of the mother's pain to the baby's father as the labor went forward. They said, this is great. So the doctor set out for a pain transfer of 10% for beginning. And as the labor ensued, the man with this pain transfer was feeling pretty good. He's like, hey, I can handle this. So they kept increasing it and increasing it and increasing it all the way up to there was a 100% pain transfer to the husband. It was incredible. The mom, the wife, proceeded to have a baby without any pain, fully 100% transferred to the husband. So everything went well. The mom delivered the baby. The next day they came home because the dad spent the night there. The husband spent the night there at the hospital on the first day with his wife. And they came home and they got out of the car and they walked up to the front porch. There was the newborn baby, the wife, the husband, the proud parents. And there, lying dead on the front porch, was the mailman.
Oh, that man.
Courtesy of our Shanna, who emailed that to me last night.
Nice.
That is a good joke. She actually sent two good ones. I think the other one that she sent me will probably be on there tomorrow.
All right. Is it legal?
It's legal.
All right. Even better.
Birthdays today, Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Great story. And that guy I can't mention's biography that I wrote. Great story about him. Boomer Esiason.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
51. Jennifer Garner, 40. And Victoria Beckham, 38 years old.
Really?
Proud to report there are no military deaths.
All right.
This day in history, April 17th, 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella signed the commission for old Christopher Columbus.
Really? They gave him his ships?
Gave him his ships. And in 1937, Daffy Duck appeared.
Really?
Daffy Duck. That was Donald Duck.
That was Donald, yeah.
I had the wrong Duck.
Daffy's got
I can't do Daffy Duck.
He's the other duck with a speech impediment.
And in 1969, a jury convicted Sirhan of assassinating Robert Kennedy. Boy, that was a real tough call. Wasn't it? That was a real tough call. There you go. There's your Daffy Duck. Good job, TC. The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. From Samuel Adams. And today, of course, is tax day. You know, it used to be April 15th. You know, folks, what's going on in this country? The next thing you know, they'll say, well, we'll make tax day May 1st. And my only instruction to you is let's remember this day on Election Day. Shouldn't we? Let's remember this day on Election Day.
What are we getting for our money?
Well, we're getting GSA, flying people around to Hawaii, going out to Vegas, staying in suites, and then taking the Fifth Amendment.
Well, yeah. That's the worst thing that could happen an election year. Okay?
Let's talk about the scandals. Fast and Furious, GSA, and Secret Service agents buying prostitutes.
Not a good week.
This Obama administration is out of control.
And you know what? The president's sitting there. It's like, I'm trying, and you guys are ruining things for me.
He sure is.
Did you see him there's a little clip of him on TV yesterday getting off Air Force One? I know that you're not a fan of Obama's, but you have to admit, when this guy walks off that plane, he's got that cool swag. Even going down the steps, he's got that presidential swagger, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He doesn't. I mean, he's got all kinds of issues.
I call him Brother cool, man. He's always cool.
He does have. I mean, he's got it.
Yep.
You know?
This is remember I just built this all up, and check this history story out.
All right.
A coffee craze first gripped the world about 600 years ago in the Middle East. Some of the earliest coffee fanatics were Muslim mystics trying to stay awake for nighttime worship. As coffee became popular, it also became controversial. Early coffee houses were such brewing grounds for radical ideas that authorities in Mecca and Cairo tried to outlaw the drink, proving to be ineffective. And to this day, coffee houses, lots of stuff starts in coffee houses.
Yeah.
When coffee hit Europe in the late 1500s, priests at the Vatican argued that it was satanic concoction of Islamic infidels. Ooh. Those good old Catholics. Accordingly, they thought it should be banned. When Pope Clement VIII stepped in and gave coffee a taste, he gave his blessing to the beans, saying, "This Satan's drink is so delicious, it would be a pity to let the infidels have exclusive use of it. We shall fool Satan by baptizing it." And with the papal blessing, coffee began to conquer the world.
Now, there's some logic for you. Really, that's
just baptize it, and it's okay. Drink it up, Catholics.
Wait a minute. This is too good to let the infidels
have it. What else is too good to have the infidels? Maybe sex, maybe smoking,
mead, exactly.
Maybe drugs, maybe man.
How about smoking in public places in northern Kentucky?
Yes. In Turkey, a woman could divorce her husband for not providing her with enough coffee.
What?
Don't ask me, baby.
Is that grounds for divorce?
Grounds for divorce. By the way, I got some great pop culture coming up, which we will save until pop culture. In local news, Chris Smitherman says on a report on WCPO that African Americans need to take responsibility for what he's calling black-on-black gun violence. We're caught up in, should I call it black-on-black violence? If that gets your attention to say that it's a problem, then let me catch your attention, because grandmas and grandpas are scared to come out of their homes. People are terrified by the level of violence and at the randomness of it, said Smitherman. He's my good buddy, Chris Smitherman. God bless him. Wilder police chief, under the influence of alcohol in March, as charged, the court has been set for May the 15th. Rock Gaming LLC, who's the casino here in Cincinnati, are now the new equity stake partners at Turfway Park.
Really?
Horse racing needs casinos.
That's interesting. It's a nice little tag.
Former Bengal Nate Webster rejects a plea deal. He rejects a plea deal. He wants a trial. NKU president. The new president will be Jeffrey, with a G, Mearns, who is the current provost at Cleveland State University.
Is that Geoffrey?
Joffrey. My name is not Jeffrey. His name is Joffrey.
Joffrey. Well, welcome to Northern Kentucky.
When we come back, we got some great pop culture for you. This is the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160.
And make sure you listen up for Bill O'Reilly's Talking Points coming up at 7:28 this morning here on Real Talk 1160. And now, back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog. Let's listen to Robert Plant, shall we? That's your wake-up call, ladies and gentlemen of the American jury. You could wake up. You know what? I need to put that in my radio, that I wake up to Robert Plant playing that song every morning. That would be good. I just want to say it's an honor to be here on Real Talk 1160, being drive time, followed by Laura Ingraham. You know, you get radio superbity, then you get radio addiction, followed by Michael Savage, who's crazy but entertaining, followed by Mike Huckabee, who is, a strong but nice gentleman. And then we got Wildman Walker. I tell you right now, folks, I can put this lineup: Bulldog, Ingram, Savage, Huckabee, Wildman. That's the best lineup in the tri-state right there, folks. You should listen every morning. In the movies, pop culture, Hunger Games, still number one 4 weeks in a row. 4 weeks in a row. Then you got the Three Stooges at 17.1 coming in second, and The Cabin in the Woods is third. Get this, folks. I'm going to write a novel. In fact, I have a novel that I've already got outlined, and I've actually written some. And if it wasn't for all my Kentucky bar battle stuff, which is taken away from my writing, I would have had this one done as well. But I got this novel called Matacumba Bay. I shared it with several individuals, and they're all like, whoa, that's a great story. But no Pulitzer for fiction. For the first time in 35 years, no Pulitzer Prize was awarded in the fiction category. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Basically, all you fiction writers rejected. J.K. Rowling is coming out with a Harry Potter encyclopedia. I would just like to ask this question. Why? Why do we need a Harry Potter encyclopedia? Halle Berry, TC and Sensible Don's good friend, is engaged again.
She's not my friend anymore.
Again. Now, I just got to say this about Halle Berry and Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Aniston. We all look at them and say, boy, they're beautiful. Why can't they keep a man? Why do the men not stay interested in them?
That's a good question.
Pretty interesting.
Now
Jamie Schloy, our station manager, agrees that this is a great lineup. He just sent me a text message.
Yeah.
Bulldog, Ingram, Savage, Huckabee, Wildman. How the hell do you top that?
You can't.
It's like a relay with a great, what do they call the relay person in the beginning? Because I know the anchor.
Oh,
Wildman's the anchor.
The anchor.
And, you know, since he weighs the most, it's a good thing he is our anchor. I love you, Wildman. The world's oldest suit. But think about it. Why is Halle Berry, Jennifer Aniston, and Jessica... By the way, the men always leave them.
You know what? Here's the thing, okay? Maybe, okay? I think my first thought is they're beautiful women. They're high-maintenance women. They've got to always have their hair done and their nails done. Now, listen,
we don't want to offend those legal women that I'm going to honor at 8:05.
Not those women.
See, because now those women, I'm sure, keep their men satisfied, and no man has ever left them.
Or it could be that these beautiful women have a tendency to want to, I don't know, be kooky, nutty, crazy, insane.
All I know is they can't keep a man. The world's oldest supermodel, 83, British beauty, Daphne Self 83, is still walking catwalks, starring in campaigns, and hasn't indulged in any cosmetic enhancements. I think it's a waste of money, she tells the UK, relative to facelifts and Botox. Anyway, I couldn't afford it. What do you mean? If
you're a supermodel?
You're a supermodel, you can't. We have to talk to Dr. Kurtzman about this tomorrow.
Now, does she use a catwalker?
Ha, that's good, TC.
Just asking.
Do you have the feel-good song ready?
Yeah, you want to do that now?
You know what? Maybe we're going to do the feel-good song, and this is for Jennifer Aniston,
You really want this one, don't you?
Halle Berry, and Jessica Simpson. Maybe they should look elsewhere for women, for men. Maybe they should find an outlaw. Maybe they need an outlaw. Those of you that don't think I play enough country music for feel-good songs, listen to this.
Outlaw.
Ladies. Why is that, TC? Why do ladies fall in love with outlaws?
That's that bad boy thing. They like bad boy. I like the bad boys. The bad boys. Because they're exciting.
You know, I classify myself as an outlaw.
Do you really? I would never have thought of you as an outlaw.
And my wife is the furthest thing from an outlaw you can get.
Yeah. That's that opposites attract rule right there. That's what. You know what? When I was in high school, I played in a band. We did a lot of Willie and Waylon. We should do this song.
Oh, this is a great song, man. Hank wouldn't have done it that away is my favorite Waylon song.
Hank would have done it this away. This guy's got a great voice too.
You gotta love Waylon.
Yeah.
Somewhere deep down in their soul, they look at them outlaws and they say, you know what it is, TC?
What's that?
They want to know if they can tame them.
That's it. They want to. That's it.
Women don't want a boring guy.
No, they want a challenge.
They want somebody they can tame.
Right.
You know what's funny is I remember back in high school, in college days, you would see this gorgeous woman with an outlaw.
Yeah.
And I would say, what the heck is they with? Because I became an outlaw later in life.
Yeah.
And you'd say that and say, what the heck? But you realize that they're attracted, and they would know all the bad things about that guy. Didn't matter.
Right. Well, you know, part of it, too, in high school, everyone is defiant against their parents. So when your parents say, you're not going to see that boy, then you want to see him. Then you want to go out and see that, you know.
That is right. Ladies love outlaws. Like babies love stray dogs.
That's a great line, too, isn't it?
It is a great line.
I miss Waylon.
We're going to do sports. The Reds were off yesterday, and tonight they play the Cardinals at 8:15. We have Johnny Cueto going against former Red Kyle Lohse, the Cardinal starter. Let me see. What is he? Hockey. I've agreed by myself. I've agreed with myself to report the hockey games because it's playoff hockey. The Bruins beat the Capitals 4-3. The Rangers beat the Senators 1-0, and the Blues beat the Sharks 4-3. The Bengals signed contracts. What was that? Is that a break?
That's our break music.
Are we at break?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that
close.
close.
When we come back, we'll finish up sports, and then we're going to get into some meat. Some meat on Real Talk 1160.
Sounds kind of cool, doesn't it?
Yes. Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160.
Now listen to this song. You love this song, don't you?
Love it.
Now what do the bad boys do?
Raise hell.
There you go. That's why you got a good girl.
I went to Scioto County yesterday, TC, and the prosecutor brought his son to court with him because his son and him are big fans.
Is that right?
How cool is that?
All right. I'd like you to meet the Bulldog. Bulldog, this is my son.
Is that not cool?
That's all right.
Now, remember, coming up at 8:05, I have a special tribute to a group of female attorneys that I cannot name. I'm going to protect in confidence. See, I can keep a secret. But I've got a special song for them because they were concerned that I have not been too kind to the ladies, which is not true. I have lots of lady fans. I just call it the way it is. For example, here's some things that I will say about women.
Be careful.
That are true.
Be careful.
Women, if they get in a fight, they hold grudges. Guys can have fist fights and then have beers.
True.
That's just reality. Anyway, back to sports. This is an incredible sports story. I think it's a funny story. The Crystal football, Alabama won for beating LSU in the BCS championship game, was knocked off its display by a father of a current player. The Waterford Crystal Trophy shattered. It's valued at $30,000.
Whoa.
I wonder if it's insured.
Hello, Lloyds of London.
And today, the Kentucky players, Davis, Gilchrist, Teague, Jones, and Lamb, are going to have a news conference in Lexington to announce their intentions. Can you say, see y'all? See y'all.
What are your intentions?
Thank you for the memories. Thank you for a national championship.
What are your intentions with
We
our
have
team?
reloaded. Thank you very much. Did you know that the New Orleans Saints owner has purchased the New Orleans NBA basketball team?
Really?
Yes, he has.
I thought you were going to say he purchased Dog, the bounty hunter.
And Jack Nicklaus is going to receive a Congressional Gold Medal.
Really?
Yes, for his Nicholas Children's Healthcare Foundation.
Oh, that's nice. Well deserved.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing that Congress is messing around with in sports, I just want to know why Mr. Clemens is back in Washington. Roger Clemens court case.
Oh, gosh.
Is that not a waste of our tax dollar?
Waste of money. You know, like the most he's going to get is like 2 years.
And you know, we
Look at the money wasted on Barry Bonds, and the money wasted on Roger Clemens. And what's so funny, folks, is it's called lying to Congress. When I am president in 2020, I'm going to pass a law that says this: Congress lies so much to you, you are allowed to lie to Congress.
Exactly.
It's going to be allowed to lie to Congress bill. I will get elected. You know what? I will get elected on one thing alone. It's going to be, if you elect me president, I will support a law that you're allowed to lie to Congress since they've been lying to you all these years. And I'll tell you, the people would say, yeah, go Bulldog.
Got my vote. That's it. Now, they spent money. We wasted money on Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens twice now. You know, with all that money, we could have sent the Obamas back to Hawaii for another vacation.
I'm glad you brought that up, because after the 8:15 break, I have a rant that's in my head. It's in my head that I cannot wait to get out of my head. You know, sometimes, TC, I stay up at night. These things start building up in my head, and I got to release them.
I understand.
If I didn't have a radio microphone, I'd blow up.
I know the feeling.
This is in health news. You know, we cover it all. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, this is very important for all of you that are working night shift. I shouldn't laugh. Do you know that they've done a study, and those people that work at nighttime have an increased chance of obesity, high blood pressure, depression, weakened immune system, type 2 diabetes, and cancer?
Wow.
That says
good news.
And good news, you get to file your taxes today.
So why
the tax man?
Why all these symptoms, all these illnesses?
They just say that based upon the lack of sunlight and the sleep adjustment and everything else, that it hampers a hormone involved both with sleep and suppressing tumor cells.
Really?
Yep.
Now, you know, years ago, I was working working overnight at a radio station, and did that for like 2.5, 3 years, the overnight shift. This is back in the 80s, before you had 24-hour grocery stores, everything else. And it's hard when you've got to do your banking between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock, and you don't wake up until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I stay up all night working, but it's at home. I've never worked a night job or a weekend job until I did radio, where I was doing the 9 to midnight shift, and I was working on weekends. And then also at the restaurant, I worked Friday and Saturday nights. And I tell you right now, I hated it.
Well, you know,
I hated it.
Throws your schedule off, because you're used to eating breakfast in the morning, having lunch in the middle of the day, and then having dinner in the evening. When you work that late night shift or that overnight shift, you eat at different times, you sleep at different times. Everybody else is awake when the sun is out. And
TC, I'm going to keep a secret about who those ladies are that I'm going to play that song for.
Okay.
But I'm not going to keep this secret. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, TC and I got in here last Friday at 3:30 in the morning And yesterday at 4 in the morning to tape our show. Now, of course, we taped it, so it was pretty fresh because it was only 2 hours before we went live when we were finished. Because I had to be in court in Scioto County both Friday and Monday.
Yeah, it's like a 16-hour
So TC and I started our day. We were here at 3:30 in the morning Friday and 4 o'clock yesterday because we love you, man.
That's right.
We want to deliver we want to deliver the best possible product instead of redoing a show or something like that.
Yeah. And
that's how dedicated TC and I are.
That's right. That's what it's called, dedication. We are committed, should be committed.
Last year, almost 1,800 people renounced their U.S. citizenship or handed in their green cards over taxes. It's almost 8 times more than the number of citizens who renounced in 2008 and more than a total of 2007, 8, and 9 combined. TC, if we renounce our citizenship, we don't have to pay our taxes today.
Wow.
I can't do it, folks. I love America too much. It's so tempting. And you know what? If you couldn't be a citizen of the United States, TC, which country would you choose? Denmark?
Canada's close.
Canada?
It's pretty close.
Canada has too many connotations about Vietnam. I think that I would want to be, if I wasn't a citizen of the United States, I think I'd choose England.
Jolly old England.
Jolly old England. Chip, chop, and cheerio, Chipper.
Yeah, hang out in Liverpool for a while. That'd be pretty cool.
The Joint Chiefs chairman has commented on the Colombian prostitute incident. We let the boss down, said Army General Martin Dempsey.
Everything else was up.
I can speak for myself and my fellow chiefs. We're embarrassed by what occurred in Colombia, though we're not sure exactly what it is. What the heck?
Was that an apology?
Oh, is that an apology? You know what happens when you go to Colombia? It's like those Geico commercials. You know, like if you're feeling down, you start hanging out you go to a Turkish bath. And when you're at a Turkish bath, you hang out with Charlie Sheen. And then, it's the same thing. When you go to Colombia, you smoke some weed. When you smoke some weed, you end up with some prostitutes. When you end up with some prostitutes, you don't pay the prostitute. When you don't pay the prostitute, you get fired. So don't go to Colombia.
Apparently what happens in Colombia doesn't stay in Colombia.
And I got to ask this. You know what? The Secret Service agents might have not paid for some prostitute, but Hillary Clinton's in a bar partying and dancing with their arms in the air. Woo-hoo. Really looking like a You wouldn't have seen Henry Kissinger doing that.
No, but you know what? Hillary's got to blow off some steam every now. But now here's the thing. When you work
with her girlfriends.
Well, we'll leave that one alone. The Secret Service should be able to keep secrets.
You're right.
What happened there?
You're right. That's a good point, TC.
They dropped the ball.
That's a great point. Secret Service should be able to keep secrets. Let me see. By the way, the Secret Service has yanked the security clearances of those 11 members. They're yanked. The Florida governor, TC, denies that this special prosecutor is based upon pressure.
Yeah, well, they've got to say that.
Yeah, they got to say that. Let me see. Summoned before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Jeff Neely could face a criminal investigation by the Justice Department, where his case was referred by the Inspector General. When asked about the lavish conference, Neely repeatedly said, Mr. Chairman, on advice of counsel, I decline to answer based upon a constitutional privilege.
So I know I did something wrong, and I just can't tell you guys about it right now.
Barney Frank says that he told Obama that he should focus on financial reform, not health care. Obama made the same mistake Clinton made. When you try to extend health care to people you don't have it, people who have it are, on the whole, satisfied with it, get nervous.
Well, it's an interesting point. Barney Frank said, look, I screwed up the whole housing mess. You got to fix this financial thing.
When we come back, we will continue informing you of what's going on around the world, the galaxy, this hemisphere, the other hemispheres, from pole to pole and coast to coast.
All 3 hemispheres.
On Real Talk 1160.
And remember, if you can't find a radio because you're at work, stuck to that computer, use the TuneIn Radio app. It's free on your iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. And you can hear Real Talk 1160 24 hours a day. And now, let's get back to the Bulldog.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog, coming up at 8:05. I got a tribute to some ladies in a law office who are fans. I'm going to protect their identity. They know who they are. They complained to Charlie Lester yesterday about comments that I'd made. Also coming up.
That was a long time ago, though, wasn't it?
At about 8:17, I'm going to do a rant that you're going to love, and I'm going to do it in my morning voice.
As opposed to your outdoor voice or your quiet voice?
TC, do you know that Leon Panetta goes back and forth from California on his government plane, $32,000 round trip? I got to ask a question, TC. How come he can't fly first class in a commercial flight?
That's good. Why can't he just stay in Washington?
But if he has to go back every once in a while with family, why does he have to have a special plane? Do not get it at all, TC. I can tell you right now, when I am the president in 2020, I promise you that my cabinet and my departments will be frugal because I'm a farm boy and I'm not into all that extravagance. I drive an FM 150, not a Bentley.
There you go. Now, can we stop for 1 second
yes,
here?
TC,
okay,
we can stop.
I would like to borrow your passion and your anger without the guns and say, now, Leon Panetta's, you said $32,000
Yep.
round trip.
Yep.
Okay. Does it cost us that much to fly when we fly? Why can't he take not even first class? You work for us. Take the commercial flight. Fly coach. Okay, fly the red eye. We're paying for that. All right? Now is the time that we arm ourselves with our vote, and we stop this stuff. All right, I'm off my little soapbox.
At 8:17, TC.
Thank you.
8:17.
Right. Okay.
A Colorado man faced off against 200 women in the hopes of becoming the Denver Broncos' first male cheerleader last weekend. Saka Heppel participated in the first round of tryouts Sunday when one member of the judging panel said it was an open call so anyone could try out. They cut him. Thank God. Good
that's
call.
Discrimination. Now,
you know what I say?
They cut him because he's a guy.
You know what? I don't care. The Denver, come on, man. If you know what, there used to be male. I told that great story about Yale, Harvard.
Yeah.
There was at the time in 1968, Yale and Harvard were all male.
Yeah.
The cheerleaders were all male because you had to be a cheerleader.
Yeah. That's different in college, yeah.
But come on, folks, who wants to see male cheerleaders?
Did you see the video of this guy?
And I've said this before. No, I haven't.
He was fabulous.
But I have to say this again. I have to just say a little bit of jealousy on the cheerleading front. Those male cheerleaders that get to hold their partner up high.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah. There's ulterior motive.
Let's say the cheerleader is dating a football player. And then he goes to the basketball game, and he sees his girl being held up by one of those very strong, gymnastic-minded male cheerleaders. And I can see it. I don't like him holding you. And I can hear the cheerleaders. It's not sexual. He's just holding me. Yeah, right.
Meanwhile, that male cheerleader's scheming. He's planning.
Oh, yes,
when
he's
going to make his move.
When he makes his move. Yeah. At the cheerleading annual party at the end of the year, when they have their little banquet, he'll make his move.
Hey, Susie.
Don't trust male cheerleader football players. Don't trust them. If they're holding up your girlfriend, don't trust them.
Yep.
You can see her now. Some of these young Bulldog Nation members are going to go home and say, hey, you're breaking up right now with that cheerleader. I don't want you cheering anymore. We're going to cause controversy throughout the tri-state.
Now, what if this guy that got cut, the male cheerleader tryoutee, is that what you call him?
Yes.
The contestant or whatever. What if he came to you and said, I want you to represent me? This is discrimination.
I would say, sorry, pal. You shouldn't have been trying out in the first place.
You wouldn't take that case, huh?
I would not take that case.
Do not call me.
Do not call the Bulldog on this one. Hey, TC, you called this one. Remember you said if you ran things, you'd have one last big offensive blast in Afghanistan, then leave?
Yeah, a military sucker punch.
They're apparently planning that.
Really?
Before they leave.
Wow. So they're listening to our show.
I even put that on my newsletter, Bulldog Note. TC called this one.
Well, thank you. They must listen, just like Huckabee and O'Reilly. Huckabee's going to be in town this week.
And apparently we might get an interview with him.
I know.
Rob told me to be ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, we are ready for
I got
Mr.
great questions for Mike Huckabee. It'll be an entertaining interview. CNN says their poll has Barack Obama with a 9-point lead, which is very interesting because all the other polls show Romney leading.
Yeah.
Thanks, good old CNN. They say the president is more likable and more in touch with the problems facing women and middle-class Americans. It's called entitlement. Entitlement. You're about GSA. They got these, they had some other woman testify. They got all these bonuses during the president saying that there was a payroll freeze. They were still getting the bonuses, and the woman slipped up and said they were entitled to them, and his congressman went off on them.
Oh, I heard that.
Entitled, huh? Entitled.
Well,
yeah.
I didn't mean entitled. That's not what I meant. Ooh, how about those Reds?
And this ribbon cutting, they sent somebody all the way from like Denver to Hawaii for a ribbon cutting that lasted like 5 minutes. And then he stayed 5 days. And then they sent like 11 people or 15 people to a hotel in Vegas to scout out the whole hotel. Now, TC, you know how ridiculous that is because you can go online. Every major hotel in Vegas, online, and my golly, they'll show you everything about that hotel. I don't need to fly out to Vegas to check out the Mirage or the Wynn because I can go online and say, man, that's a pretty nice hotel.
I mean, that's a Democratic administration. Don't they know Al Gore invented the internet?
That's right.
They can go right on the internet.
And you can get on the phone and you can call and just say, hey, I just want you all to know we're thinking about coming out. Do you have this? Yes. Do you have this? Yes. Do you have this?
Right,
yes.
right. Now, and I say, remember 3-4 years ago, I guess it was, when AIG had that huge party, took all their big wigs out somewhere, spent like $40 grand. And we were furious. I mean, the media went nuts.
It was to some spa.
Yeah. Same
right
thing.
after we bail them out, they go on a spa trip.
Same thing going on here.
Romney is now searching for a VP candidate. His campaign manager from 2008 is in charge of the vetting process. By a near party line vote of 51-45, senators voted to keep the bill alive. That's the Buffett rule, but it fell 9 votes short of the 60 needed to continue debating the measure. By the way, do you realize, folks, that under the Buffett rule, where those that are making that kind of money paying 30% tax would pay for, drum roll, 12 hours of the 365 days of the federal government. The amount of money it would bring in, TC, would pay for 12 hours of a 365-day government. Give me a break. How does Barack Obama look the American people in the eye and tell them that this Buffett rule tax is the key to our financial problems, when even if it passed, it would pay for 12 hours of 365 days?
Almost all of a sudden, I'm missing Herman Cain. Flat tax across the board,
right?
999 or 777, however you want to do it, is so much simpler.
There's a new book, and I saw this on the O'Reilly report last night while I was working before I went to bed. By the way, I crashed. We talked about being in here at 4 o'clock yesterday. Yeah. I work on Sunday. TC, I slept yesterday from 1:30 to 2:30 a.m., 1 hour. Got up and came and did my show. Yeah. Drove to Scioto County, which, by the way, I got a ticket from an Ohio State trooper on the way down there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I did. Oh. I came back 52. I tell you right now, the drive down, you're supposed to go 32 and then another drive. 52 is a much prettier drive.
Is it?
If you're ever going to Scioto County. Anyway, I was watching Bill O'Reilly last night before I fell asleep again, and there's a new book out. Now, this is incredible, folks. Listen very carefully to this. This new book says there was no tracking plans on the guns, and the plan was our Justice Department and the ATF, they wanted the guns to go into Mexico so then they could claim, see how bad the gun problem is in this country, and they're getting into Mexico? They did it on purpose, folks, to then claim, look how bad it is. There should be impeachment proceedings over this.
There are a lot of Mexican officials that lost their lives.
They were doing it on. An ATF guy lost his...
Right, yeah.
When we come back, a special presentation for those ladies on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog, on Real Talk 1160. If you need me, you can text me at 859-250-2527. Only 8 more days till my suspension in Kentucky is over. Also, you can email me at eric@ericdeters.com. Yeah, I'd love to be your Facebook friend. You can follow me on Twitter on Bulllaw. Also, Real Talk 1160 has their own Facebook page. You can follow things as well as realtalk1160.com.
But if you're a male cheerleader, do not call the Bulldog.
Yeah, we don't want any male cheerleaders. We discriminate against you. And also at 8:17, I've got a great Bulldog rant in my morning voice. But until then, and before we take up the further discussion of Fast and Furious book that's come out, there are a group of female attorneys and female staff members in a legal office in Cincinnati who told my partner, Charlie, yesterday, and I don't know if they were serious or kidding, I don't really know, but they were offended about recent comments that I might have made of the female nature, which I love the ladies. I will never, ever disparage the women unless it's true. So to make it up to them, they said something about barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. I don't think I've said that in a long time.
That was months ago. We've apologized.
Profusely. You know what they're doing is they're trying to create an issue where there isn't an issue.
See, you're just too nice. That's your problem. You're too nice.
To honor these women, who I will protect their names and I will protect their confidentiality, I am going to bestow upon you, as the head, the commander of Bulldog Nation, the highest honor I can bestow upon a woman, and that is to Tom Jones you. So I am going to Tom Jones every one of you. It's like a massive baptism, only it's a massive Tom Jones.
Gotcha.
Listen to this. Tom Jones is singing this to you, ladies. They're winners, TC.
Yeah, they are.
God, I love this song. If they're nice to me, I might pay for Tom Jones to go to their office and sing this to them.
You know, Guns N' Roses should have had Tom Jones front them, you know?
Yep.
At the Rock and that would have been great. Tom Jones singing November Rain.
Ain't no messing.
He said ain't.
I hope this makes up for my bad comments. There's not every day that a whole office gets Tom Jones, TC.
That takes a lot of work,
In fact, this is the first massive Tom Jonesing.
Wow. The massive has ended. Now go in peace.
All right. Back to Fast and Furious. We went into the break.
Well, that felt good.
It did feel good. Always feels good to Tom Jones. Listen to this, folks. This new book out about Fast and Furious claims that, you know, they've all came out, oh, the idea was to let these guns go into Mexico so we could track them, which, let's face it, sounds like a bizarre plan. Well, the reality is they wanted the gun shops in the United States to sell the bad guys' guns because they wanted these guns to go into Mexico so then the administration can attack gun owners and gun shops for all of the gun violence. Hey, our guns in this country are going into Mexico. The idea is then to pass more gun control laws. And guess what? An ATF agent ends up being killed by one of these guns. TC, that's messed up. And if it is true, Eric Holder must be fired. And if this reached the White House, there needs to be, and this gets thrown around a little bit too loosely, but there needs to be an impeachment. This is worse. Somebody died. This is worse than Watergate. This is worse than Iran-Contra, trading of arms. I mean, Americans died as a result of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that, and that is
wow.
I would say
if true,
unforgivable. Yeah,
if true, now, this is bad.
How high? I don't know the process, but how high up does this go? When the FBI does something, I mean, does the president know? Does his cabinet know? I mean,
I can tell you this: there's no question because people are taking the fifth and whatnot.
Yeah,
I don't know if the president knew, but I think it's pretty obvious based upon listening to his testimony and the others' testimony. Eric Holder knew,
right? Yeah,
Eric Holder knew.
He knew.
And you know what, folks? It's like this. Yeah, I mean, I'm just calling it the way it is. I'm a practical kind of guy. Can you imagine what Eric Holder knows about Barack Obama. So how hard is for Barack Obama to can his buddy from Chicago, Eric Holder, his buddy, he can't can him because it's like, yeah, man, Eric Holder's goes, the president ain't going to fire me because, I got the goods, we're friends.
Or he could say, hey, look, Eric, I need you to take the fall on this one. I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Hey, I can find you someplace else, but you got to leave.
But you got to stay quiet, and I'll take care of you. You'll be all right, but, keep me out of this,
Right.
Or maybe it was just kind of, how the mafia does things, okay? Say, for example, Tony Soprano would say, all right, I need you to take care of this. He doesn't know exactly how it's being done or the details. He just knows that the situation is taken care of.
As a godfather of the Bulldog Mafia, I understand how those things work.
Right. This guy's becoming a problem. I'll take care of it, boss. Thank you. All right, that's all you need. That guy won't be bothering us no more.
I don't want to know how. I just want it taken care of.
Yeah, we won't be seeing Boldy around here no more.
Apple had a bad day on Wall Street yesterday. Its stock dropped more than $25. Fifth straight day of declines. The losing streak had wiped out about $60 billion of Apple's market value. Wow.
Man.
Buy low, sell high.
Sony's happy about that.
Yeah. We already covered the Buffett rule. Texas is losing $4.4 billion in revenue. A Texas court ruling classifying drilling for oil and gas as a manufacturing process would cost the state up to $4.4 billion in revenue. That's a lot of revenue to make up.
Yeah, it is.
And the World Bank named Jim Young Kim as its next president, maintaining a 7-decade U.S. lock on the post after the first challenge by candidates from other countries. Dr. Kim said after his election on Monday that laying the groundwork for job creation will be his top priority. Let me see. Walmart CEO in 2011 only was paid $18 million. Come on, man.
That's all?
Come on. That's outrageous. They need some more pay there.
They're not rolling back his paycheck, are they?
When I was in Barnes & Noble browsing around, I passed up a book that apparently just drills Walmart for all of the economic pain they cause across the board, from communities to other businesses. If you go into some of these small towns, now I don't know, because Walmart employs people. I don't know enough to say what's what, but I do know this. I drove through yesterday, coming back from going to Portsmouth and back from Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I drove through a lot of small towns. And you know what? There's a common denominator in all those small towns. There's not a main street in America anymore. Everything's in the suburbs with the malls and all that. But the one thing that Walmart has done in all these small communities that they've gone to, there's no independent hardware store. There's no independent pharmacist. There's no independent anything. Paint store. Walmart wipes them out.
Right. I can imagine. And they're not paying their employees, what, $7-8 an hour?
Yeah, it's not a high wage job. And again, any job's a good job, and I'm not trying to pick on Walmart. Walmart's low prices might be good for America. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to analyze it. But I do know that it's so sad to drive through these small little towns. I'm talking about, I live in Independence. Independence doesn't have a main street anymore, in part because my dad and I and the family, we built the Independence Town Center where the Kroger and all the shops are. But there wasn't a main street anymore before that was built.
Yeah.
In Walton, same thing. Walton has a new area out on the interstate where they got a Kohl's, they got a Kroger, they have shops. Main streets across this country, and I'm not even necessarily, it's a bad thing, it's just a reality. But being 48 years old, it's kind of a sad. I'll tell you a town that I really enjoyed that I went to my niece's wedding several years ago was Galena, Illinois, which is where, guess what, folks? Grant lived. Grant lived in Galena, Illinois. I went to his house because I wanted to see it. You talk about a thriving Main Street. It's awesome to walk down this old town street, and they've got hamburger diners, and they've got candy shops, and ice cream shops, and all these, just shops.
Right.
And they're awesome,
Independently owned.
Toy shops.
Yeah.
Painting shops, print shops.
And not everything is a franchise or a big box store.
No, it's all independently owned.
Yeah.
The backbone of America. When we come back, we'll have Glenn from Mason and then Myran. Hold on, Glenn. You'll be next. It's the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. 513-579-1160 if you want to call on Real Talk 1160.
Make sure you listen up for Mike Huckabee. The Huckabee Report coming up at 8:30 this morning on Real Talk 1160. And now back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. 513-579-1160 if you got something witty or wise to say. Glenn and Mason, you're on Real Talk 1160.
What's going on, Eric?
I'm just trying to hold up the microphone.
Let me ask you, what was your rant going to be about?
Well, you'll have to just wait and listen. You want to call back afterwards?
Hey, well, I would love to because I probably can give a good argument against it. But let me just say, in the book that you're talking about Fast and Furious, what's the name of it?
I think it's called Fast and Furious.
Okay, does it mention anywhere of the previous administration's involvement in Fast and Furious?
You know what, Glenn? I don't know because I haven't read the book, but it would shock me that you would mention George Bush.
Why? It's part of Fast and Furious
investigation. It was sarcasm.
Okay, but
because I think we can blame everything on George Bush, can't we?
No, but we can start with the first administration's involvement in it. As a matter of fact, while you were talking, I did a Google search, and hell, there are like 15 million hits.
Do you know that I think George Bush was the worst president? I've had this conversation with you before.
Right.
That I think George Bush was the worst president we've ever had until Obama.
Yeah, but I think Barack Obama is infinitely more better president than George Bush. But the problem is you voted for George Bush twice.
No, I didn't.
And you voted for Sarah Palin and John McCain once, so that discounts anything that you have to say about Barack Obama. I don't know if you realize that or not.
No, I didn't. I didn't vote for George Bush twice.
Well, who'd you vote for? You voted for Kerry?
I'm not kidding you. I voted for Kerry.
Well, Lord. Well, I voted for Kerry also, and I think that Kerry wouldn't have had us in war in Iraq. We probably would have gone after Afghanistan.
I agree.
But, yeah, and isn't it ironic? And I want to say thank you, TC, for your comments the other day about Dick Cheney. I don't know how Dick Cheney can criticize the Obama administration when he led the worst administration in American presidential and vice presidential history. But, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out. Like I said, there's a story here written by Carrie Johnson of the National News, and she talks about how the Justice Department sent nearly 500 pages of documents to Darrell Issa and the crew documenting that this Fast and Furious went back to 2006. And your comments that you made about how they wanted to go after the gun dealers and the people that were selling illegal drugs, they got a quote from the ATF official in March of 2006 said, "We want the manufacturing and distribution pieces also. We want it all." And Eric, isn't it ironic that just last week, I think Cincinnati police, they confiscated like 200 guns, and there was a guy up here in Mason that was converting the guns from semi-automatic to automatic.
I'm a guns rights man. It's not the gun that kills people. It's the jack wagons that hold them.
Yeah, but, Eric, when you have unlicensed gun dealers selling their guns out in the parking lot outside of gun shows, that's illegal. When you have a man that lives in my community where my kids ride their scooters and the bikes and their electric Jeeps, and he's converting semi-automatic machine guns into automatic machine guns, I don't want that in my neighborhood, and I don't want that in my state. Don't you agree with that?
I don't know enough about the conversion of guns and what that would mean, semi-automatic, automatic license. Again, the average person owning a machine gun, but my only problem is, Glenn, it's a slippery slope, buddy. I mean, I'm a gun rights guy. Jack wagons are always going to get illegal guns.
That's true. Glenn has a good point, though. Now, if you think about it, he lives in Mason, okay? Nice part of Cincinnati. You don't expect that. Now, if he lived, and I'm just going to say, over the Rhine, okay, because we have shootings in over the Rhine. You might be more inclined to say, well, it's in the city, blah, 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 crime is higher there, but you don't expect that out in Mason. So I can see how he'd be upset. I don't know, as far the details, like you said, as far as converting the semi-automatics to automatics, but
I got to get this out of my system.
All right,
before I blow up.
Go for it.
And then I'm going to have to probably go in after the break and continue this rant. But here it goes, folks. In the recent days, there has been revelations about the GSA and them flying somebody to Hawaii for ribbon cutting and staying 5 days, sending an advance team of 11 folks out to Las Vegas to check out a hotel. Leon Panetta, $32,000 flying back and forth on his own plane. We had Nancy Pelosi flying a plane back and forth when she was Speaker. I understand John Boehner's flying coach. Those of you that want to bring up George Bush, I'll tell you right now, George Bush spent too much time in Crawford, Texas. His flights back and forth were terrible. And what I'm about ready to say applies to both Republicans and Democrats, this administration, prior administrations. It was Republicans and Democrats that gave us all the pork, folks. We remember some of those pork projects like North Carolina beaver studies. We had shrimp running on treadmills. We had the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, wanting to spend federal dollars on a poetry contest in his native Nevada. We have Barack Obama and his wife and kids taking these lavish vacations, Spain, renting out the most expensive hotel in India and flying out there with all these people. We've got the Martha's Vineyard vacations. We got the Vail vacations. It's incredible. We have Congress that until recently, they were allowed to do insider trading, which means if Congress knew a drug was going to come on board and that was going to be a big boom for that drug pharmaceutical company, they would buy some stock in it. Then we have the entitlement, the spending, the government spending, the foreclosure. Oh, let's bail out them all. Then we have the entitlement programs, Medicare, the unfunded prescription drug bill, which is bigger problem than Social Security. Thank you, George Bush, Republicans and Democrats. And then we have the Medicare. And then we got Obamacare. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, when you combine the wasteful spending of all of these departments under Republican and Democrat administrations with all of the money that they just spend, entitlements, here's some more money. We're just going to keep throwing more money. Medicare, here you go. Social Security, here you go. Unfunded. You understand the mentality and the philosophy. It's like, let me get mine. You have these congressional staffs, $1.4 million budgets. You've got some, mostly Republican, except one, congressman, who are giving some of their budget money back in a symbolic fashion in order to say, hey, we don't need to be spending this much money. But what happens is it is a culture in Washington, D.C. It is a culture from the politicians and the bureaucrats that, hey, this is not my money, so let's all get what we can get. You had a GSA guy wanting his buddy to go with him. And you got that jackwagon that just testified. There's a picture of him in a hotel suite in a bathtub with 2 wine glasses sitting on the counter. It makes me want to puke. You got Americans out there who are unemployed. You got Americans out there that are in foreclosure, not because they overspent, but because maybe they lost their job. You got gas prices nearly at $4 average. You've got a real unemployment of 15%. I mean, it's an incredible situation, and you've got the political leadership doing what they are doing. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to continue this, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it is, and I'm going to use a personal experience of my own to explain to you what's going on in Washington. I'm going to tell you a personal experience as an example of why this exists in the federal government and our state's governments and our local governments. And in the toleration, people wonder why I called for an armed march, because I think unless there's a revolution, it's going to keep on going. It's going to keep on going. That's the attitude. And I'm also going to give you solutions. I'm not just going to tell you what the problem is. I'm going to give you solutions. When I return, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. I laid out just a few minutes ago examples of just government, just runaway government spending. It's incredible. And that happens at state level, local level. I want to share with you guys a personal experience which a lot of you already know about, which is my Kentucky bar battle. This was an incredible experience for me. Now, just think about this. I'm charged with all these 19 charges. 15 of them get dismissed. Well, I go through this trial commission process, and I get a very biased trial commissioner who I find out is from the same law firm as one of the person who filed the bar complaint against me, and now his law firm might be representing bar counsel who's probably facing criminal charges. I stand before the Board of Governors. And I could tell most of these 13 people hadn't read a thing. Here I am in a very important matter, and they hadn't read anything. Now, they did what's called a de novo review, which means they ignored that recommendation and just reviewed it. Now, their decision-making process was a couple hours. Now, you tell me how a room full of lawyers are going to review my 109-page brief, which I wrote at the trial commission. And by the way, I shortened that down to like 15 pages for the Board of Governors. They didn't understand, but they figured, oh, well, we'll find him guilty of 4. And then it goes before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court doesn't even give me a hearing. And I will bet you money that the Supreme Court justices probably didn't read the brief. You heard Scalia on Obamacare say, do you expect us to read all of this? This is Obamacare, our health care system. And you had a chief justice, not the chief justice, a justice of the Supreme Court admit he ain't going to read it. We're going to leave this to our law clerks. Now you say, Bulldog, what's that got to do with everything you're talking about? Well, it's got everything what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury, you know what we do? We elect people to high office, local, county, state, federal, and we have all these bureaucrats, and they're dealing with really, 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 really important issues. And you know what I'm convinced of, folks? They don't pay attention. They're not reading. I mean, you think some of those bureaucrats, okay, they got to get through this brief? Yeah, they're not going to read the brief. They're just going to say, well, I think we ought to pass this, or no, we shouldn't pass this. It reminds me of Al Pacino in the movie where he played Arthur Kirkland, Justice for All, when his buddy was supposed to go to court, didn't go to court, and his client hung himself. And Kirkland is beating the heck out of his car with his briefcase, and he looks at his law buddy and goes, don't you even care? Don't you even care? And if these politicians, they don't even care. They may claim they do when they're on the campaign trail. They may act like they do, but they don't. They don't apply their minds. They don't apply their time. They don't work hard. It's incredible. And the Bar Association Kentucky is it's a kind of a public body, quasi-public body. It's the fraternity of lawyers, and these are lawyers. This is the governing organization of the Bar Association. It's incredible. And then you have corruption in so many processes. The president-elect of the Bar Association is a guy named Thomas, of the Kentucky Bar Association, is a guy named Thomas Rouse. He's a lawyer in Northern Kentucky who's also in a Northern Kentucky Bar Association. He drives around in a scooter because he apparently has multiple sclerosis or something. Now, I know somebody who knows him that says he doesn't need that scooter, but he rides that scooter around. Now, you all know that I don't make fun of disabled people. I got a brother that's got cerebral palsy. I don't care whether he rides a scooter or not. But here's one thing that bothers me. This is the president-elect of the Bar Association, and he is the president of he's in the Northern Kentucky Bar Association, and he is talking about confidential things relative to my matter in front of the Northern Kentucky Bar Association board the other day. And guess what? I got some friends on there who told me about this. Corruption. And you know what? This goes on, folks, every day throughout America, in every city, every county, every organization, every state, and our capital. And the farther up you get and the more removed, it's more prevalent. Do you think these congressional members and their staffs read Obamacare? Hell, Nancy Pelosi's the Speaker of the House. She admitted she didn't. She said we got to pass it so we can understand what's in it. This is the Speaker of the House, folks. The Speaker of the House. Barack Obama. He golfs a lot. He vacations a lot. He's been averaging 3 fundraisers a day. When's Barack Obama reading all these important things that are on his desk? Tell me that. It's an unguided missile. Government is an unguided missile. A big, fat, bloated, unguided missile that is just set to sail, and everybody just watches it, and nobody cares, and nobody knows what's going on. The only solution, folks, is to elect and hire in government conscientious, hardworking, virtuous people. Not saints. People that are virtuous, hardworking, and care. That's the solution. It's that simple. If you have a mayor of your town or council members on your town, here's somebody in Independence, I always use an example, is Mike Little. Mike Little is an engineer at the railroad, like an engineer, not like on the railroad. He's an engineer in the office. He's an outstanding council member in Independence. You know, you can look at city council. I think Chris Smitherman has turned into an outstanding council member on city council in Independence. In Cincinnati. I think that Hartman is an outstanding county commissioner. And you know what? Kasich made a lot of enemies, folks, but he balanced the budget when they said it couldn't be done. And there's a job uptick in Ohio. You might have made a lot of you mad, folks, but I don't know. Maybe Kasich's been a good governor. But that's the key. You have to do that. We have to elect people like that. Now, let me tell you about Romney, for example. Taking this all the way. Romney, I think, comes off as a hard worker, a virtuous person, and I think he knows a little bit about running businesses. And you know what? I hate the Republican establishment, folks, but when I look at Romney, Obama, that's an easy call for me. Easy call for me. But we have to, it's called apathy. Well, nobody pay. And you know what? For everything I just said about everything, do you know that 48% is going to vote for Barack Obama no matter what? They don't care about anything I just said. They'll never hear it. Even if they heard it, they're going to ignore it. They don't care. It's like, give me mine, give me mine. Long term, the solution is a wise, hardworking, educated voter electorate. John Adams warned us. John Adams said this republic's not going to work unless we have people who are paying attention. We haven't had anybody paying attention until recently. I crack up that people attack the Tea Party. The Tea Party is a group of people that are paying attention to the economic issues. They're paying attention. But gosh, it is so frustrating. And when you got something so important, I can't imagine what it's like to be a criminal defendant. You might go to jail and you feel like nobody's really paying attention. You know, like the judge, jury, jury sleeping. That must be a hell of a feeling. All I know, folks, is it's a train wreck from top to bottom. Can you imagine that? A lawyer, license, possible, and you feel like nobody's even read your brief. It's incredible. It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, it's Armageddon time. Sink or swim, up or down. November 2012. We are at the cusp. Do we go off the cliff or do we turn back from the cliff? And, all these things that happen with the GSA, you start unraveling the yarn, you see all this stuff. You don't think this stuff went on Republican administrations? Hell yes, it did. It's Republicans, it's Democrats, it's the whole bunch of them. This is a bulldog. 513-579-1160 on Real Talk 1160.
Make sure you join Real Sports with Wild Man, Rick the Brick, Kevin Couch, and Jeff Porcaro this afternoon. It's Real Sports on Real Talk 1160. Right after the Huckabee Report, right after Mike Huckabee Show this afternoon. And now back to the Bulldog.
This is Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Real Talk 1160. Keep it right here at 1160 all day and evening. Laura Ingraham follows me. Then you have the Savage Nation. Then you got Mike Huckabee from 3 to 5. Then you got Wild Man in here.
Got a great lineup here.
TC, what I espouse, am I not right or am I not right?
Well, you came down pretty hard on GSA. If it wasn't for GSA, we wouldn't have green water.
Uh-oh. Do you think we might get that they might call our loan?
I hope not. I hope that's guaranteed. Remember?
Do you have a green water commercial for the American jury?
Actually, we do. But first, I need to make a phone call.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Reincarnation Auto Body and Paint of North of Kentucky. This is Don. May I help you?
Don, it's TC Summers at Real Talk 1160. You gotta help me, man. Listen, Bulldog let me borrow his truck to go apologize to the Kentucky Bar Association. Well, I took a few cases of green water, kind of as a goodwill gesture. I accidentally spilled it all along the right rear panel of Bulldog's truck. Took the paint and the logo right off. All he is now is Bull.
All right. Settle down. Bring it in. I'll personally inspect the damage. I'm positive we can take care of it with no problem at all.
Great, Don. You are a lifesaver. Listen, I owe you one. How about if I bring you a few cases of green water? Hello?
Green water available at Queen Kick and on the right rear panel of Bulldog's truck.
That's good stuff. You know what? I would like to give those Board of Governors a glass of green water.
Yeah. Green Water Plus, the lethal dose.
Hey, TC, you know the attitude of, I guess this is too important to laugh at, but let's laugh at it anyway. Can you imagine the mentality of people like in high office and high jobs, the bureaucrats in Washington, where they're like, everybody else is doing it. The attitude, everybody else is doing it.
Right.
Everybody else has always done it this way. Why should I care? Nobody else cares. Well, I'm collecting my paycheck and getting my pension, so why should I care? Well, I'm not going to read that and be prepared. It doesn't make any difference. I got my job whether I'm prepared or not. I got my job whether I do a good job or not. It's incredible.
You're right.
And that's not what we're supposed to be about. We're supposed to be about Americans. We're supposed to be hardworking. We're supposed to be caring, conscientious. We're supposed to be about opportunity. Nothing's a given. It's all about performance. It's about opportunity. It's about getting ahead because you worked harder than the next guy, because you're smarter than the next guy. Not that, it doesn't make any difference what I do. I'm going to do.
Well, when you go on vacation, you stay in a hotel. When you leave, everybody takes the little soaps. Well, everybody else does it. Might as well. Congress has taken all the little soap.
That's a great analogy. There's no soap left to take.
Exactly.
And some of these programs like Harry Reid thinking, can you imagine if we brought back to life Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, Adams Franklin, all the pillars, and Patrick Henry, and you set them in a room. And you said, okay, we're going to tell you a few things about what's going on in government. And they said, the Senate Majority Leader has had that bouncing scandal where they had their own bank.
Right,
where you could float any check in the world. Dan Rostenkowski.
Yeah.
Hopkins lost the governor's race in Kentucky because it came out in the middle of his campaign against Jones. He had hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just write a check, cash it, thank you very much.
Now imagine if they were in the private sector. What would their credit look like?
Bad. But you see, TC, what drives me nuts is the American public. You know what, TC? It might be impossible because you have half the American voters don't care. You can tell them anything you want. And let me tell you how powerful that is. I don't care who you are or what happens. We each have people who are so loyal to us. I'm using this as an example. Who are so loyal to us that no matter what, they're going to maintain their loyalty. Like, for example, I have a core group of fans and clients and family members that are going to defend me even if I were to do something bad.
Yeah.
And that's what you have. It doesn't matter what Congress does. They're like, well, I know Rangel might have done X, Y, Z, but by golly, he makes sure I get my government check every month.
Exactly.
So I don't care.
We ought to have a transparency report because people are, I think it's just plain ignorance. A lot of stuff that goes on, we just don't know about it.
Yeah. All right, TC, that's enough of this serious talk. Let's talk about that. Let's make fun of that Denver male cheerleader that got cut the first round. How embarrassing to be in the first round cut.
Yeah. You should take that case. It's discrimination.
He deserved to be cut. I still think the funniest all-time skit on Saturday Night Live is Will Ferrell and that little actress and the cheerleaders. The Spartan cheerleaders. They're not part of the cheerleading squad. But they're there at the games cheerleading in their own little space, getting all excited. That is it. Here we go. Can you imagine that? I'm surprised it doesn't happen more in the schools.
Wait, I was just thinking. I can't get off of this. I can, but the male cheerleader thing. Okay, maybe now you've got a client who's a pretty good cheerleader. Right?
Yes.
Well, maybe you could
in
hook
8 more days.
In 8 more days, maybe you could hook the two of them up. She could give him some lessons, some tips,
Hey, by the way, I got to tell you a funny inside scoop about this. It is driving the criminal defense attorneys nuts in Northern Kentucky that Sarah Jones and her mother are using me as a lawyer, and I'm suspended. And there's lawyers actually calling other members in my office and saying, "Come on, man. Come on, he's suspended, man. You ought to refer her to me. You ought to refer her to us. You ought to refer you guys to." And Charlie Lester saying, "Hey, she's my client until the dog gets back."
Right.
It's driving. In other words, it's a national news story. Today's Show, by the way, this dude from the Today Show texts me every day. I said, "Dude, I'm suspended till such and such."
Right.
But it's driving them nuts that it's my case and I'm suspended.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
They're just jealous, haters.
I am grateful for that loyalty.
So we're looking at a week and a day.
How good do you have to be that they want the suspended lawyer?
That's pretty good.
TC, we had a great show today as always. We never have a bad show.
What is bad?
And we're going to be back tomorrow for even better. Better, best. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. I hope tomorrow.
I have one final question.
Yes.
It's a tax question. You said I do not have to wave at the guys dressed up like the Statue of Liberty, right?
No.
Okay, thanks.
On Real Talk, 1160.